I had went back and I found a tweet that you said, hey, in September 2023, you said you wanted to get into cybersecurity.
Yeah.
And you pretty much transitioned in 6 months.
Yeah.
What made you want to come to the dark side?
So it is funny, that same day, so it was actually September 15th, 2023, there was this tweet on the timeline. It was a lady that tweeted it, and she tweeted about like a junior cybersecurity analyst role that they didn't require any experience. So I got on Google, did my Googles. I literally decided based on that tweet, like, I think I want to do this. And I think in my Google searching, that's where the Google CyberSecurity cert came up with Coursera. I'm going to come back here in a few months when I've done what I said I was going to do. And then that's when I went through and did the cert.
So now you work as
So my technical title is a lead application security validation engineer. So all the applications in our environment, I make sure that they are pen tested with our vendor and work with the application teams to ensure that they remediate the vulnerabilities within the remediation timeframe.
Have you dealt with any imposter syndrome?
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%. My manager says that too. He's like, security is not hard. Like you can teach anybody this. And he's like, you learn that like once you're here, like it's not what you thought it was. Like learn.
Yo, if you're looking for a way to start your cybersecurity career, then check out Josh Metacor's course at Level Careers. He has a great cybersecurity course targeted for beginners, very affordable, and if you're familiar with Josh Metacor, he's also a brilliant YouTuber and puts out a lot of helpful content. So here are some of the reasons why you can choose cybersecurity: high demand, job security, competitive salary, work variety, and fulfilling work. The national average salary for information security analysts is $113,000. Overview of the course: theory introduction, security refresher, security frameworks, security regulations and standards, security operations signals. Then you have these great labs with Azure, logging and monitoring, Microsoft Sentinel, secure cloud configuration. So if you're interested in a course, click the link in my bio and use my code to get 10% off your course. Welcome back to the TechTual Talk podcast. I'm your host, HD, and we got another lovely guest for you guys today, Miss Cowgirl Carter, aka Kayla Carter. She came to rock out with us all the way from the DMV. But if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other podcast streaming service, please follow us, leave us a comment. Helps us out in the podcast analytics. And if you're currently watching us on YouTube, you know what to do. Comment, like, subscribe. Bell icon to be notified when we're dropping our content. And look, a lot of y'all that's watching the content, y'all not subscribed. So all y'all gotta do is just click the button. But we back with another episode. Kayla, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, Miss Steelers fan.
Yes, I am.
How you feeling about Russell Wilson over there?
You know what? I like Russell. He's doing all right. He's all right with me.
I like Russ, but I wish he would have told Sean Payton off.
He's too nice. You know how you go.
Yeah, he cared about his image too much. That's what I be telling people too. Like, people like to put the corny tag on Russ, but I was like, man, I bet Russ like a whole different person when the camera's not on when he's dealing with Sierra. Like, I know he is, and if everybody probably found out the real, they'll probably like be shocked.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because that boy say, I don't know how many kids Sierra gonna end up having. Every time I see her on stage, I'll be like, I understand, Russ. I understand.
She might got one more in her.
Probably she might be twins. But no, I knew y'all was gonna be straight because he was good for Denver. They just was trying to do the smear campaign to make him look worse than what it was. That's kind of a whole bunch of stuff that has to do with the media. You got to see past. I don't know. Like I said, I was gonna mention, like, I know one of your controversial tech takes, which we'll get into that later. Like, you know, we're both on Twitter. We both see stuff. Some stuff I just refuse to even really talk about now because all people either see is interpret what you say, or whatever you say, they go into what they believe that is, and that's what they want to stick to. So some stuff I'm either gonna say it and just not argue with it, or like it's not that big of a deal. Because I don't know. Like I said, I still think they need to have a regular education Twitter and a Twitter who need help understanding some stuff. Yeah. And I don't even think that's being funny. I just think when we were in school, we had people that was in different classes. Right. School and the class tended to flow better because you had people that was on the same speed.
Right.
Well, actually, you did this. You had enriched, normal, special.
Right.
They need enriched Twitter, normal Twitter, special Twitter.
Right.
They need them people. And they need to do away with people with fake avatars. Like, hey, if you ain't got your picture, you can't be on here. No picture of celebrities.
Right.
Like, they do that, Twitter would be a better place.
I agree. Can't hide behind no fake page.
Right. So, I mean, I like, it's funny though, Threads is picking up some steam. It's not as many people as Twitter. But for some reason, like, if you start using Threads, I had tweeted this on Thread. Well, I don't even know. It's not even, I threaded this. I don't know what you want to call it. I said Threads or something, but I can't put my finger on it. But Threads will just start showing you everybody that's in your area. If you were a single person, Threads might be better than Tinder.
Really?
It'll just start showing you people that's in Dallas. I'm in Dallas looking for friends or whatever. And you'll just see it. And you're like, because I see people on Facebook talking about, like, hey, they on Threads or whatever. But I was like, that's kind of how I feel about it. I say, okay, but I'm really more so tweeting about podcast and security stuff and this and that.
Yeah.
I really don't care who in Dallas. I mean, if you want to shoot content and you a security maybe, but other than that, I really don't care. All the other stuff, I don't really need it for. So, like, it seems like the algorithm is pretty much really good at showing you who's right next to you. Mm-hmm. Whereas on Twitter, you're not going to really see, like, people that's, like, right from you unless you just start following them or typing in the, like, hashtags for it. So, I don't know. All in all, we shall see. The only thing I think Threads is missing is like a DM functionality. You got to click back on their page to go to their Instagram.
And DM. Okay. Yeah, I'm not on Threads because I'm not really on Instagram. I have Instagram, but I pop in every other month or something. Disappear.
It ain't what it used to be. Instagram really was. I feel like Instagram kind of fell off when it started trying to be like everybody else.
Yeah.
When it was just really about pictures and video, it was perfect. But then, they had the stories.
Right.
So they tried to take Snapchat swag, which they kind of did. They kind of like killed that. And then Twitter took their stories away.
Right.
LinkedIn had stories for a while. Like, everybody, like, just will not just be themselves. This would have been the perfect time in revisionist history if Tom could have came back with MySpace. I feel like MySpace would be standing tall right now.
Yes. Agreed.
That's how I feel. But enough about social media. Kayla, could you introduce yourself to the listeners?
Yes. My name is Kayla Carter. I'm from Durham, North Carolina. I currently reside in Maryland. I actually used to live in Dallas for a few years. I graduated from the University of North Carolina at Charlotte, where I got my bachelor's degree in communications. I also have my master's degree in project management from Drexel University. I have a dog, no kids as of yet. So, yeah, it's me.
Sorry, I got a new phone, so.
It's okay. I'm still trying to figure it out, too. I got a new one.
That's my old one, and I didn't went back to Android, so I've been used to, like, swiping down and searching my apps. And let's see. Okay, so speaking of college, let's talk about college. Why did you want to go, and then why did you choose that major?
So I actually went to East Carolina University first, and then I went there for my freshman and sophomore year and transferred to UNCC my junior year and was there junior and senior year. And so when I was at ECU, I thought I was dead set on doing public relations. I was going to do PR. And then when I went to UNCC, I don't know what about, they had a health communication major. My mom works in healthcare, and I don't know, it sparked something. So I was like, I think I want to do this. And I went on to think that I was like, oh, well, maybe one day I could like work for the CDC and do pandemic stuff. I am so glad I did not do that. But that's why I ended up majoring in health communication because I thought I wanted to work for the CDC one day. So glad I did not. But yeah, and while I was at UNCC, I actually ended up crossing AK.
Okay, I'm finna be funny again. Guys, whenever this comes out, you're probably not going to see it this week, but it is election day. And so while she just said she crossed AK, I was like, if y'all soar winds, like y'all gonna be unbearable. Y'all gonna be outside strolling, serious mattering us to death.
Yep.
That's how I feel.
And there's nothing that's gonna keep me from her inauguration. We'll be out there in this.
I will never go to another inauguration again. I don't care who the president is.
I've never been. I'll probably feel that way after I go.
Well, you already out there, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But like when I went, I'm from Louisiana, so we went. It was freezing cold.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the hand warmers in our hands and that, and no, I'm good.
Yeah.
On top of that might have been Obama. So this was Obama's original inauguration. I'm pretty sure that's probably been the biggest one ever.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but we had like old people that was like born in like the 30s and 40s with us. They got lost. Like I'm good. I'm not going again.
Yeah.
Never. It's not that serious to me. No, it's not. And so before we skate past healthcare communications, what is healthcare communication?
So really it was to focus on like how people can interact with their doctors and like be an advocate for that, and how like some of the posters that you see in the doctor's office, how those are worded, the brochures that you get when you leave the doctor's office. It covered like a number of things, but really it was just a way to advocate for how we communicated about health and to ensure that, you know, how we all understood it as well. So
got it. Okay. That's cool. That's cool. This is another random interjection before we talk about like probably you finishing school or what you went into, but I've been recently I just finished the first season of Dr. Death. Have you seen Dr. Death? It's on Peacock. And the gist of it is it's this doctor who is pretty much either if he ain't killing a patient, he's severely crippling them because he don't know what he's doing. And it's based off a real story. Like this specific first season was based off this doctor that was a surgeon practicing in this area.
Oh goodness.
So like immediately first episode they talked about Baylor, Plano, and they talked about Dallas Methodist, Dallas Medical and something else. I was like, hold on, is this just a story or this? And it's true. The dude's like life in prison, like right now.
Yeah, where he belongs.
It's crazy, but I was just like stuff like that will make people who don't like going to the hospital really not go because it's like there's so much. Don't let that happen to my family. I don't know how I'm gonna get the money, but we're gonna get the best lawyer and we get paid because it was negligence like on a lot of parts. Because his defense tried to say, well, he shouldn't have been a surgeon anyway. Well, like even if you knew you ain't supposed to be a surgeon, I'm not finna go nowhere and operate on somebody. Like you didn't get no adequate training,
right?
So he really based on the show he had a lot of stuff going on with him mentally, and I feel like his friends and family kind of not necessarily empowered him, but they didn't like go put him on the 10th floor somewhere so he actually can go get a real psyche valve, see like what is wrong with you. That's how I felt. And of course, they wasn't black. So the only time a black person got in trouble for some medicine was that fake doctor. You know the little dude with the glasses. I gotta put that picture on the screen right there with his part. But that's the only time we done seen that happen.
Him and that.
That's about it. But like, so you in college and then you decide. What year you decide, you know what, I really don't want to do like the healthcare thing?
So it really wasn't, I was dead set on that through graduation.
Okay.
It wasn't until I graduated and I didn't get a job I didn't get a corporate job. I worked at Nordstrom for a little bit. And
department?
Yeah, in the men's department.
Okay, so was you selling like clothes or cologne or what you doing?
It was like the men's rail, so that was what it was called. But it was like the men's kind of like sportswear, where they have like kind of the graphic tees and sneakers and stuff. But I had actually a friend that's actually from Durham come in one day and he worked at Liberty Mutual. He's like, do you like this job? Like, do you want to do something else? Like, I work at Liberty Mutual. I think you might be a good fit. And he actually referred me for the job and I ended up getting it. So that's when I started doing claims and I started in short-term disability. So that was about 6 months after I graduated from school. So
yeah, I think there's a lot of people, a lot of times it's like, I think I graduated November 2013. technically by I think March I had a job, but I didn't start till May. So yeah, that tracks most of the times about 6 months, unless like you benefited from like getting internships and having a job waiting on you. But I say 6 months to a year sometimes for people. For those new grads out there, if you're struggling, like just gotta keep pushing.
Yeah.
So, how was doing claims?
Honestly, that was one of the hardest jobs I had. Like, you talk about working long hours, long days. And it was like call center environment too. So you talk about phones ringing all day, also having to read medical records, also having to evaluate approved claims, deny claims, call people, send out correspondence, check compliance boxes. Like, we had to do all of that. And so like it was long, long hours, and our workloads were double what they should have been. So I always say like the more that I've like kind of grown in my career, the like easier work has kind of gotten as far as like hours, I would say, because I mean well, I've worked long hours, but never as consistently as I did in that job. Like it was just a hard job. Like it really was. And that call center environment just made it 10 times harder. Yeah.
Was the pay decent?
It actually was. Like I started out at a really good pay rate. Or Liberty Mutual paid really well, so that made it easy. And I actually had a really good team. Had a really good boss from day one. So like that made it easy, but it definitely was a hard job. Yeah. So if you weren't cut out for it, if you weren't one of those people that work smarter and not harder, you were gonna drown.
Yeah, and I imagine. Okay, so on the average, how many calls you think you did a day?
Probably 40 to 50 at least.
You said that's an average day. So like I know when I did help desk, I think average day might have been 20 to 30.
Yeah.
And back then, after talking to people all day, I didn't want to talk to nobody that much when I got off like work, and I really didn't feel like talking on the phone.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you got a boyfriend or girlfriend or something, they can't understand it. Sometimes it's like it's an issue. And then I talk to you all day. It's like, well, I don't feel like talking. Text me. And until they can finally like, okay, well, yeah, they have been having to say the same script over and over again, deal with the same problems. This person had this documentation here or there. Oh, sorry, this don't kick in till the end. All the fun stuff. So I definitely could see how that could be very taxing on you. So I wanted to ask you, what's a fun fact? I guess since you said you started out like, so is short-term disability, is that the only claims that you worked, or what else did you do in claims?
So I did FMLA. I did long-term disability. And with short-term disability, you do some other stuff too, like company leaves. You might administer depending on the employer's plan. You might do parental leaves, state leave. I would have to do as well. So there's a mix of things.
So what's a fun fact that people should know about any of those type of leaves or services that they may be paying for that they don't really understand?
Well, a lot of the times it never covers 100% of your pay. Sometimes it does. But you're always going to have to, it's never just going to be awarded to you. It's never just, my doctor says I need to be out, so I need to get paid. It does not work like that. Your doctor cannot just take you out of work. You have to be disabled from your job. We are looking at your job description, and we are looking at your medical condition. So your medical records need to explain why you are disabled from your job. If you have a sedentary job, you sitting at a desk, and you broke your ankle. I mean, you might get a little time, but then it's gonna be like, well, your ankle doesn't, that doesn't keep you from sitting at a desk. You can sit down, you can lift your leg if you need to, but that doesn't keep you from typing and having to look at the screen. So it just depends.
So have y'all ever dealt with fraud? Like somebody saying they fingers broke, but they like, do y'all make people go check and see if their fingers broke? If they say like, hey, I can't type at my job, like I broke 4 fingers, to go to medical records.
A lot of the time, what would happen is actually employers would would report the fraud. So people would confide in their colleagues, and their colleagues would snitch, and they would call us and say somebody's on vacation.
That's hate.
Or, go look at their Facebook. And we would, we could do that. If it was open in public, we could go look at that. And if we found that somebody was, they said they had a broken ankle and they're walking around Disney World, claims closed. We could write that in their denial letter to say, or we would send it to their doctor to say, hey, we got this proof. Would you still say that your patient is disabled based on this? And they would say no.
See,
probably.
You're supposed to go to Disney World and not post it till you go back to work.
Exactly.
So they can't say
or
when it happened.
Tell people.
Yeah. Your coworkers are not your friends.
Exactly.
I only got one coworker that's my actual friend. We've worked at 3 companies together. And we've hung out outside of work. Other than that, I don't really have any friends at work.
The one coworker that was my friend, I left that company, so we're not. She's still my friend now.
Mm-hmm. Ain't that something though? Like, it always sucks when your friend at work find a new job before you be hurt. Like, dang, man, I'm supposed to be making that work now. I ain't got nobody to talk to. You gotta deal with these people. Okay, so I was going through your career history and I saw you did claims, and then I want to say about, what was it, 3-4 years ago is when you decided, hey, I want to get into like account executive roles.
So I did claims for like almost 5 years, I guess. 2019, I moved into maybe it was 4.5 years. I moved into an account manager role. So what I did is I actually worked with an account executive where we supported large employers who outsourced those type of benefits. So if they outsource short-term disability or LTD, long-term disability, we would kind of consult with them. So I kind of did the day-to-day stuff. I was responsible for reporting. I was responsible for running the meetings. I was responsible for day-to-day issues. So if there's something that got escalated, something from the claims team, like, hey, this person has said they left this person 3 voicemails. Nobody's getting a call back. Can you try to get somebody to get a call back? Can you touch base with the manager or something like that? I handled those things. If there was a change to the account, like if they wanted to change a plan, or if there was, any type of change, we did what was called an account change request. I own that. So I did the day-to-day stuff, and the account executive oversaw more so of the relationship and overall strategy. So I did that for a couple years, and then I moved to account executive at a different company.
Got it. No, when you were talking, I was like, oh, okay, I see the transferable skills now.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into that a little bit later. But it's just funny, like when it does come to people pivoting or doing different things, and they're like, oh, what am I doing? Or they not even knowing some of the skills that they possess and how to leverage them. Because when you finally get the job, you're going to see that these people don't know what you thought they knew.
Mm-hmm.
It happens every single time.
Yeah.
And so when you were an account executive, and those weren't like, you didn't have to like take any sales training or anything for that. That just was based on experience of dealing with claims and being an account manager.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure like being an account executive dealing with like some healthcare paid good money, right?
Oh yeah. So it's funny. So I actually this has kind of been a trend, but before I left my previous company, I had an offer for a project management role. And they kind of only wanted to bump up my pay, I think like a few $1,000s, which I would have been okay with if I didn't have this other offer on the table. And actually knew a couple people at the company that I had applied to. And I was nervous about the account executive role. I knew the account executive role at my current company, I wasn't interested in that role. But the role that I applied for, I knew it was a little bit different. There were some nuances that I felt like I could deal with at the other company that I was like, okay, like this is, I can do this. So, but the pay increase was like, it was a difference of like $40,000. So I was like, I'm not leaving $40,000 on the table.
You can't. Yeah, get all the money you can.
So I left.
Okay. So I went back and I found a tweet that you said, hey, in September 2023, you said you wanted to get into cybersecurity.
Yeah.
And pretty much transition in 6 months.
Yeah.
What made you want to come to the dark side?
So it is funny that same day. So it was actually September 15th, 2023. There was this tweet on the timeline. I don't even remember who tweeted it. It was a lady that tweeted it, and she tweeted about like a junior cybersecurity analyst role that didn't require any experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, So I got on Google, did my Googles, and I literally decided based on that tweet, like, I think I want to do this. And I think in my Google searching, that's where the Google cybersecurity cert came up with Coursera. And I signed up for it that day, and I started it. I think September 15th might have been like a Friday because it took me a couple days to start it. Because I think I started the following Monday, but it literally was just kind of like on the fly. And that's kind of like the person I am. Like sometimes I just kind of decide things on a whim and I go for it. But that's really what it was. It was a tweet that inspired a Google search that said, okay, like, you've been wanting to get into tech in one way or another. I thought my way in would be project management. But, the MGM hack had just happened like right before that. I was like, so that was in my brain. I remember talking to my dad about that. And so it just went from there. And I was just like, you know what? I like what I'm seeing with this Google search. Like, let's see what happens. And that's when I tweeted, because I have to keep myself accountable. I have to put things out there. And I said, I made a decision today that I'm going to make a big change. I'm going to come back here in a few months when I've done what I said I was going to do. And then that's when I went through and did the cert.
Nice. Hey, shout out to Coursera. Listen, I'm going to link my video because I reviewed the course. I'm link it right here so you guys can check it out. Click the link in that description so you can use my affiliate code so I can get some money. I'm just being honest. No, what's funny though is for a lot of people who probably have like no clue about cyber, I direct them to that because I was like, it's made for entry-level people with no experience and kind of just breaks them down the different domains that they may be interested in. And then that's how you can figure out maybe what you want to specialize in.
It taught me what I did not want to specialize in.
Right, that too. So that's one of the things too. I have these calls with different people and, I want to do this, I want to do that. And then we start breaking it down. I'm like, I don't know, you may want to do this. I don't think you're going to like that. You think it's this way, but this is really what you're going to do at the job.
Yeah.
Or people are trying to do one thing and I'm looking at their skill set. I'm like, you should look into vulnerability management. No, like, I had a call with a guy yesterday about that because he kept on he got on the phone, previous military, so he's a veteran. He's like, I'm looking for like cybersecurity specialist roles. I'm like, that's a vague title. Yeah. It's like, it could be anything. And then he showed me like something he did with this program or something with the military paid for. I was like, you're using Nessus? I was like, yeah, go ahead and look more into vulnerability management. Like, you may have a lot more skills already for that versus you trying to go do these other things or trying to do this. Right. Really, what I told him, and this is my opinion, but I told him that I believe a cybersecurity specialist is actually a cybersecurity generalist role.
Yeah.
And they don't exist that much. Like I know when I worked at Optiv, we had some generalist roles there, and they would slate somebody to work a couple of roles to figure out what they wanted. So whether they want to be an analyst or go into engineering, or do they want to do more development, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And that's what those are for, which are cool, but those don't exist at a lot of companies.
Yeah. Yeah, when I first started applying, I was just kind of applying to cyber analyst roles, and they were all over the place. Like, I was like, this is...
Because they also can vary. I tell people, too, don't get caught up in the name.
Yeah.
Because one analyst could be more GRC-based.
Yep.
Another analyst could be more blue team, SOC, IR-based. So sometimes you don't know. Yeah. and that's where it takes sometimes. Now, we're going to get into that, too, when it comes to paying for stuff, resources.
Yeah.
There are a lot of different things. I really don't fault whatever way somebody do.
Right.
I just say, hey, if you are a person advertising, I don't care what you charge. Like, just get results with it.
Right.
That's all I say. Because I always see sometimes people talking about, somebody shouldn't pay this or that. But I would say over the last 4 years, some people have turned these programs into actual businesses that they scaled, that they got employees with. So I can't necessarily say what somebody shouldn't charge because, okay, if I don't charge this, then these people
Don't.
can't get paid.
Right.
So it's like, now if it's just one person, I still can't tell you what you can charge, because if you look at somebody getting business coaching, it's much more than what you'd pay for like a boot camp or something, and those people will gladly pay it. So let me ask you real quick though. How was your interview process crossing over? How was that?
It was good. It was, I mean, I think what worked for me is that I actually reached out to the hiring managers that had roles open at my company. And I just told them like, hey, this is what I've done so far. This is what I want to do. I'm currently account executive. This is my background. I see that you have this posting up. I'd like to learn more about you and your team. Can I put 30 minutes on your calendar? And then that just kind of built a relationship. And at the time, my company was actually building up the cyber program. The recruiter that I worked with her on actually all the cyber roles that I applied to, actually. So I technically applied to 4 different ones. She had hired 30 people already in a year for cyber, and it was just March. So we were really ramping up. But I built a relationship with her. And actually one of the roles that I ended up getting offered for, she reached out to me. It's like, I remember your background. I thought you actually might be good for this. And it was actually one of the roles I ended up getting a offer for. So I think it really was, I think, the relationship that I built more than like how well or bad I interviewed, because it was just more like they could tell that I was motivated. They could tell that I went the extra mile to like get a certification first. I wanted to put time on people's calendar. I wanted to learn more. So I think that just mostly stood out more than anything else. They knew I didn't have the experience. They didn't care.
Yeah, I think the devil's in the details. But you illustrate something that I try to preach to newbies about the networking and just putting yourself out there and just never knowing. And you just pretty much dismantled the spray and pray approach that I tell people doesn't really work. Especially when there's so many different people trying to spray and pray. Like you had, and I haven't seen these people marketed this app in a while, but they were toting this AI app that was going to get people interviews, and you pay X amount of money and it's going to apply to all these jobs for you and all this stuff. And I was like, that don't work. It don't work. And that's why I don't think it was successful. They already tried to make it be more expensive than it had to be. And also you got I put it like this, and we could probably do this in sports terms, or let's see what people understand. The reason why some people still shoot mid-range is because it's a higher percentage shot. So to me, your mid-range, or we can even consider a dunk or a layup, you started within wherever you was already working. A lot of times when I have calls and people say they got a job, I say, well, do the people know where you work at, what you want to do?
Yeah.
And they say, nah, they don't. I'm scared what they're going to say because I want to leave. What you scared for? It's your career.
Yeah.
Like the last episode I just did with Josh, we were able to, like, technically he didn't get a role at his previous company doing security stuff, but they were able to let him do, he was running these different type of, I don't know if there was DLP reports, I forgot what type of reports he's running. But the manager saw what he posted at work, on his LinkedIn. They started letting him work with the security team. And we leveraged that into getting a role at a tech company doing instant response.
Yeah.
So I was like, it could be a slow grind, it could be a fast grind, but you got to start somewhere.
Right.
But if you don't tell anybody, or the other one I tell people is like, even if your manager knows, you're going to have to do this stuff for you. They're not going to go out their way and go talk to people for you.
Right.
A lot of people are just waiting for a handout for somebody to go do something for them. And I'm like, that's not what, that's not going to happen. And it's also going into the post where the guy was talking about the boot camp, and I was just saying, hey, I do know some people, like, there are certain people like yourself, you didn't really need somebody to hold your hand. You knew what you want to do. You're a go-getter. You'll probably be a go-getter in whatever role you do.
Yeah.
There are other people that are not go-getters.
Right.
And they just need assistance.
Right.
They will not be, they need to be told what to do, how to do it. Hey, you paid this money. You need to do it.
Right.
You only got, 30 more days working with me. Get on it. Take your test.
Right.
Some people need a mom or a dad in their career.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the money and every other stuff comes from, just because paying for people's time and everything else, and that accountability. So, but no, I definitely like that. I think that's a good illustration of how it can be when you're focused and when you're specific in your job search.
Yeah.
I think that's the big one, being specific in the job search. A lot of times people have no job search strategy. I'll probably be rich if I counted how many. Are you in that Black IT group on Facebook? So it's like filled of like newbies and some experienced people, and the newbies are always saying the same thing. Got all these certs, I can't find a job or this or that. And I'm always telling them a lot of times, like, so since some of them don't have a job, I'm like, well, it's a skill issue. It's not a certification issue. It's a skill issue. And I said, I'm willing to bet you don't have a good resume.
Yep.
Most of the time, those are the two factors that even just lead to people not even getting interviews. Let alone to, okay, now you got to build up the skill set of interviewing.
Yep.
And so it's a simple process, but it can suck. I was like, hey, it happens to me. I get denied for stuff. I go through interviews. I've been through different interview processes. I've been through things where, you interview for all these roles and they interview this way, then you go, somebody give you a curveball. It is what it is. But I got tricks for people to get better at that as well. I think you already covered the 2 offers part. Okay.
That was my prior place.
At I can say Lincoln, right? Okay, yeah, Lincoln. Look at me doing my research.
Yeah.
Man, so I'll let you actually say the proper term of your role so I don't butcher it. So now you work as
So my technical title is a lead application security validation engineer.
That's her title. Okay, now we're going to get her to break that down for us. If Johnny had 6 apples.
So basically, I oversee for my team the DAS program, which I'm actually building from scratch. We didn't have that previous to me being on the team. So that's something that I am working to build. And then I oversee pen testing. So all the applications in our environment, I make sure that they are pen tested with our vendor and work with the application teams to ensure that they remediate the vulnerabilities within the remediation timeframe.
So I know you said the pen testing is with your vendor. Is this also, do you also do internal pen testing as well as external?
Yes.
Okay. Now that's cool. So what you just said falls in line with what I would have said about the Avis breach. And like, technically you would be instructing maybe like the pen test team or the vendor to like pen test this application and maybe see what information you got.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And I always tell people too, like, people think when they want to go to be a pen tester, they think that they's going to be feeling with, dark room, shades, hoodie on. When I'm like, a lot of times, man, they paying for that report.
Yeah.
That's stuff you find. And for us, when we do engagements, it's like, we will see if our detections catch what they're doing, and we got to give them so much access to do stuff, which is a good sign. Like, if they could just get in and start running rump shop and we don't see the stuff, but we're trying to see what did we miss. That is how you make sure that your company don't end up on the news. Because it's at some of these things are negligence. I don't care what nobody say. You take over all these big companies and you don't do the simplest things. So like, hey, making sure somebody needs to do multi-factor authentication, strong passwords on critical infrastructure.
Right.
Like, if it was a person who missed the alert or didn't do something on their end, they would be fired.
Right.
When the company does it, it's cool.
Right.
Now, with that being said, with your new role, have you been engaged in any type of, and you can say this at a high level, I don't want you to talk about internal things you guys are going through, but have you participated in even like any type of incident response process yet?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, that's a plus. I always tell people it's a plus when it's a boring day at work, because it's like, everything's up and running. But, well, I guess also for you, it would depend on how big is it if y'all team would need to be brought in to do like vulnerability management. So
I could imagine it would be more so like, what was the latest pen test report that was, run for this application or something. Yeah. But
I know like the last biggest ones was like Log4Shell, Spring4Shell. Those were like the big ones, but everybody in freaking companies were coming together to try to fix stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably like the last biggest one. So this video is being sponsored by TechTual Consulting. Are you still struggling to get into cybersecurity? Are you not getting interviews? Do you have a bad resume? Or is it all the above? Well, if that's you, then we got you covered at TechTual Consulting. My name is Henry Davis. I'm a career coach and a cybersecurity professional, and I've helped hundreds, maybe even thousands of people get into cybersecurity with my coaching and my content that you've seen in various places. Now, I specialize in specifically getting people in the blue team. That would be incident response or SOC analyst. I can cover everything from your entry level to your medium to your advanced skills and really help you outperform your resume. You don't believe me? Check out some of these testimonials that I've had from recent clients. So if you're interested, click the link in my bio, techtualconsulting.com/offerings to see what offerings that we have available for you. Now, back to the show. This is going to piggyback off what I said earlier, but have you dealt with any imposter syndrome?
Oh, 1000%. 1000%. I was telling my manager this, and shout out to my manager because he is, and shout out to all my other managers, but my manager today is one of the best that I've had, and he is the reason that I am going to take my career where it's going to go, because he is just, I'm forever grateful for him. John, if you're watching this, thank you. But yes, every day I feel like sometimes that like, oh my gosh, I didn't deserve this, or it like came too easy, or I didn't work hard enough for it. Like, all those things that your brain tells you, but I work with such a good team and they're so smart, and I just learn so much from them. And they all have questions too. And, they all talk about like, we all have imposter syndrome, like never feel like you can't have a question or like we know more than you. Like you're probably asking something that maybe we might not have the answer to as well. So, they've made me really feel comfortable in taking my first steps into cyber, because I was really intimidated like before starting, but now I feel really comfortable with my team. It's just been great.
Yeah, because I told you start figuring out like
my manager says that too. He's like, security is not hard. Like you can teach anybody this. And he's like, you learn that like it's once you're here, like it's not what you thought it was. Like they're the same as you.
It's only honestly, I feel like the technical parts of security are hard. It's like you're going through and you're like coding,
yeah,
doing scripts, networking,
right?
Like stuff like that to me is it's harder. Like security engineering, like those things to me are harder, which you still can learn if you got an aptitude for it.
Right.
But for the most part, you'll find out common sense not too common.
Exactly.
And then that's when you're like, oh, okay, yeah, y'all don't make sense. And I mean, for y'all, it's good because y'all got, I should try to say diverse team.
Yeah.
So that's my next question, actually. I would presume you work with mostly men.
Yes.
How's that?
You know what? I actually really like them. My previous team was like more diverse as far as like men versus women, but obviously in this space it's more it's 3 women and then I think it's probably 10 or so men. But they're really cool. They make us feel welcome, so it's nice.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, like I said, like one of the reasons for the show is because most men, especially black men, we rarely work with black women at work.
Yeah,
rarely. And so it's either men or maybe it's a white woman or somebody else. So you rarely see a sister at work. So I always do that for the representation piece of it. And I always wanted to work with y'all, at least on my team, because like I know y'all would do good work.
Yeah,
especially what we do. It got to do with either investigations or other different things. And I feel like it'll put other people to shame because they just be kind of like doing a bare minimum. And I'm like,
there's only a couple times. So early in my career and when I was an account manager, those are the only 2 times I worked with other black women on the team. No other time have I ever worked with another black woman.
I hope that was a good experience.
It was.
Okay,
yeah.
good. No,
Yeah.
I only say that because all the
I know where you about to go.
the Twitter stuff is like it'd be funny. Like I think it's I seen some girls talking about like white men the best managers to have. They gonna make sure you good to go. Whatever. Is your manager white?
Yes.
So that's why you feel like that. And then me, I put the phase on love picture up. I was like, not for me. On the contrary, though, my best managers have been black women and white women. Like my best manager, like she's a director at Crash right now, but like she really helped me out a lot in my career because I guess she saw what I was doing, and every year I was like promoted to doing something different.
Yeah,
that's all I need. I can't be in the role where you're not actually seeing like my value or seeing like what I could bring to it. And so if you keep me pegged in a box, it's not a good thing. It'll actually make me go show my talents elsewhere. I'll be like LeBron, I'll go out South Beach. But men, for brothers, no, you rarely run into like a white manager that's gonna really be a good sponsor for a brother.
really. That's interesting. So I've always worked for white women. And I honestly think I've really been lucky because I always tell people this, that my corporate experience has been very different, I think, from what a lot of people experience. I think it's why a lot of people are pushed into entrepreneurship because of bad managers and bad leadership. I have never had a bad manager, ever. Every leader that I've had has been great. But I'm also a person who takes control of their development. I always have been like that. So I can naturally be shy, but I am not shy about my career and wanting to move up and do what I want to do. So they have always like supported me in those ways and like have connected me with the right people or have gone the extra mile to say, hey, I talked to somebody. I thought you might be interested in this. Here's her email. They've always done that. So, I've just been very blessed in my corporate experience to always have good leadership. And I know that's a blessing because I know a lot of people don't experience that. And I always hate that for them because I'm just like, it just makes all the difference.
Right. I haven't ran into like, maybe outside of McAfee, and that was 7 years ago. But outside of that, I haven't really ran into bad leadership. I also just hadn't, the longest I haven't ran into the most embracing of leadership. So it's kind of one of those things. It's not, I mean, everyone's going to have a pro and a con. Yeah. Like wherever you work at, everyone's going to have a pro and a con. As long as it's like not causing you to lose sleep and mental health, I mean, you can deal with it. Okay. So what's your typical day-to-day like? Is it like filled with meetings, doing project stuff? You working in Jira? What you got going?
So I'm mostly in my vendor portals. So like for my DAS program, I'm like checking on my applications, seeing if there's any new findings from the previous day.
Wait, real quick. Let's inform them of DAS.
Okay.
Because you've been saying DAS a lot. I'm like, well, what is DAS?
DAS is Dynamic Application Security Testing. So it's an automated scan that for us runs every day, every 24 hours. And so I check on that every day. I'm in our pen test portal, so we constantly have testing going on. We usually have about 3 tests at a time. So I'm working on making sure those are still going smoothly. If we've got a completed report, if we need to have a scoping call with the vendor, do we have the contacts, the appropriate contacts from the team of who needs to be involved in that? And if we have had it, do we have anything outstanding from the team? So, has the vendor sent us any questions about, credentials or the environment or whatever they need to do their testing, and they're waiting for something from the team and the team hasn't responded. So I make sure that they get those answers to them. I may have a couple meetings a couple times a week. We have a team meeting. I have a couple vendor meetings. And then outside of that, I don't want to act like I do nothing because I do fill my day, but sometimes it's just like looking for like conferences. Like my manager will send us like virtual conferences. Sometimes I'm studying or trying to find a new cert. I'm trying to study for my CISSP. So we'll see.
I got it in progress on my resume, but I hadn't studied for it in so long.
Oh my goodness, it is overwhelming. I actually haven't studied for it in a while either, but I have the books at home, so
We need to keep each other accountable.
yeah. I used to have it on my calendar. I need to put it back. It's been off for like a week. But yeah, so but really it's mostly spent in my vendor portals, just making sure nothing has popped up. We actually changed the process for our application teams and how we notify them of our vulnerability findings. So right now, that's my focus with my manager and the rest of my team to just ensure that that process is going smoothly. We just started that this week, so that'll be our priority for the next couple weeks.
Got it. So the next one I want to ask you is, at a high level, without divulging too much, what's the most exciting thing that you got a chance like to work on into your career?
So I am really excited about building the DAST program. I've never gotten to build anything from scratch. I've always kind of, I've always been a person that's like a process improvement person. I'm always kind of like, I know in some of my previous roles, I'm sure my managers were tired of me saying like, we should do things like this or we should do things like that. But it always kind of had a foundation first. It gave me something to work with, but this was completely from scratch. The only thing that I had was I knew the vendor that we were going to work with. So they had already chosen that, but I had to build the program. So the SOPs, the FAQs, how like my manager let me run with everything. And actually we had a goal to onboard 24 applications by the end of the year, and we've already hit that goal. So we're at 100%. We've knocked that out of the park. So now we just kind of get the focus on this new process that we've rolled out this week for the rest of the year and make sure that's smooth. I'm actually confident that I can get some more onboarded this year. My manager's like, he always tells me nights and weekends, Kayla, nights and weekends. We don't, as long as you're not working nights and weekends, I'm happy. But so that has been like kind of my pride and joy because it's my baby. So I get to make it how I want. So I've been really excited about it.
Sounds like somebody's getting a bonus.
I hope so.
No, you definitely getting a bonus. I think the company's been performing well.
Yeah.
And so this is a question here, which could be kind of different based on how I word the question, but I'll flip it like this. Granted, people may not be able to do exactly how you did it based on you already at a company and they had a need, you filled it. What would be some skills you think somebody would need to do this? And it could be either new skills or whatever transferable skills they may have.
Project management skills for sure. The penetration testing program that I oversee is it's really ensuring that we keep our pipeline full. So it's having to make sure that we test our applications per our contractual obligations. So either annually, biannually, per request by the client. But that really requires project management skills. Staying organized. So being able to juggle a couple things at once. I think you definitely need to be able to communicate. Not so much like you don't need to communicate in a technical sense, but you kind of do need to understand what's going on. Like I would recommend like, some of the terms that people are using, the vulnerabilities that you're seeing, like research some of that stuff so you know what you're talking about, or at least what you're hearing. And then I think just, as long as you're a team player, I don't see why you can't do this. Like this is one of those jobs that like it. I don't want to say it doesn't take much because I don't want to make it sound like it's easy, but it is one of those things that it really is project management, staying on top of things, and being able to work within a team. If you can do that, you golden.
What Now, this is a question I didn't write down, but I thought about it. What would you think this role would be called at other places? Do you think it would be necessarily called the same thing?
Oh no.
Or would this be more for like a technical program manager, maybe for like vulnerability management or something?
Perhaps technical program manager, or I think I've seen like vulnerability management manager, or vulnerability management like analyst or something like that. But it's definitely, I've seen something similar. It always indicates some type of vulnerability management though.
Yeah. And I said that because somebody might be trying to say, well, I'm going to type in this title.
Yeah, don't. I don't think you would type in exactly that, but I think if you type in vulnerability management, you're gonna land somewhere in between.
And it's also funny too. That's like one of the things I'll do a resume. If your title at your company is not like a wide known popularized title, I will change it because the job lines up with the thing that's more popular.
Right.
To get you more looks.
Right.
I do that a lot as well. And this last question about your job. What that salary jump was like though? What was that like?
It was, I will say I was ambitious in what I asked for, and I was actually not expecting to get what I asked for. I think when I applied, the recruiter set expectations that I may have been shooting too high, and I said that's okay.
I always be saying that.
I was actually willing, if I needed to, stay where I was at and just take a lateral move to get out of the role that I was in. I was burnt out. So, but when they gave me the offers, which I had two offers, one for a more GRC role that was in our Fed space, and then the role that I have now, they offered me what I asked for initially for both roles and just allowed me to choose. So, and that was really hard because I was like, oh my gosh, I want both of these. Like I could see both of these having their benefit, but I'm glad I went the route I did. I made a great decision.
It's good. You know, they be like, man, we need the number, man. We need the number. If y'all need the number, come to Patreon. I'll make up one for y'all. But that's if she wants to tell y'all. Maybe she can tell y'all in so many ways, so y'all could just try to find a number.
It's definitely 6 figures.
Yeah, I have a way of knowing what possible roles may pay, but then it can vary from company to company. Mm-hmm. Like I know your company tends to pay well, and based on your role, so I have an idea of a range it may fall in. So I have an idea.
Yeah.
Now here's some fun stuff.
Okay.
What's your most controversial tech take?
Don't pay for no boot camp.
you know that's under a thing. But like I said, since we can get on this a little bit more and definitely now, I think you should probably like nuance it.
No, I agree. I that's not a one size fits all. I think you should. I don't think you should pay $15,000 for a boot camp. I don't think you should pay $10,000 for a boot camp. I think the boot camp needs to make sense, and I think it depends on what you want to do. Like, if you want to go code and you've never coded a day in your life, you don't have any tech background, okay, yeah, you might need to go to a boot camp. But I don't think you need to go to a boot camp if you want to be a GRC analyst. You don't need to go pay for a course that's $5,000 to be a GRC analyst. You don't need to do that.
Yeah, they have cheaper courses. Like I said, I'm not really in the price thing because I'm all about what value does it bring you. Because like, for example, I'll eventually have a course like my coaching stuff. Like I have like private stuff that the clients see that YouTube doesn't see. Yeah. So that stuff will eventually be course material and it's not going to be as expensive as that at all. But when it comes to like my other services, when I'm often talking to them in consultation calls or if I'm maybe trying to like pitch it to them, I'm like, well, you may see this price, but this price also covers some stuff that I really can't quantify. Like you're getting access to my network and other stuff. So one of my recent clients that got one of his jobs, like he got 2 jobs. So he working 2 and he found 2 companies. They cool. At first I told him, hey, try to pick one, but he was
Right.
like, hey, they low maintenance. I said, hey, I ain't mad at you. Get them 2 checks.
Yeah.
But one of the jobs he got primarily because, of course, he did do good in his interview, but it got pushed up because one of the people that worked there used to work with me.
Yeah.
So she knew if I was going to recommend somebody that's going to be solid.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a guy that went from making $50K that went to making 132 total
Right.
comp. So I was like, I can't really quantify. Like, so someone said, well, you charging this? I was like, hey, well, if this person ain't work with me, they still be making $50K.
Right.
Now they're making 2 something.
No, I think I agree with you. And I think that when it comes to paying for anything, you want to pay for something, by all means. I think that what's important is that one, that you get something out of it, like you said, but I think the onus is also on the person that's providing the service to ensure that you are providing something of value. So like you said, somebody getting access to your network, I think that is so important because I feel like a lot of people are just saying, here, come pay for this, but they're not giving out no referrals. They're not helping you with no job placement. They're not connecting you with nobody that might help you get a job. Like they, giving you some course material and sending you on your way. Like, okay, go take that test. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And it's like, you leave people, okay, they didn't pay X amount of money and now they go take the test. And then it's like, now what am I left with? But there was no value there. Right. And so I just feel like it's really important as somebody providing a service that you are passionate about giving people value, and that if you have a way to put your hand back and help people, that you would do that via a referral or giving people access to your network, like you said, where they can get a job or connect with people. Like that's really important.
Right. And so like the type of boot camps I'm against is a boot camp that make you pay $5,000-$10,000 for you to get like Sec Plus, A Plus, Net Plus.
Yeah.
Like it costs way less than that just to get them on your own.
Yeah.
And when we were talking, I was reminded of I had a consult with this guy one day, and I don't know if he was in trucking or something, but he paid for some type of local boot camp around here. This is the resume he got for I think it was $10,000. How much he paid? But look at this crap.
He paid $10,000 for this.
You could have went on Fiverr for $50 and got better than that. I forgot his name because I always often check in with him because he was I think he was on a cruise or something like that. But I was just like, I'm against stuff like that. I'm against of like, and I've seen I know one person who falls under that $15K thing. I think his prices are different. He does get a bad rap. I will say, at least in his benefit, there are people I've seen do his program and get jobs. But what I tell people is it's like for that niche specialized skill set, I would advise people to already have some type of technical background to go with it. Because I was like, it is hard for somebody to go from zero to nothing to do PCI. Yeah. Because you got to really be dialed in. One of my homies, his friend took it, and I think they finally landed them a PCI gig. But they was dialed in. They knew a lot of stuff, and they was doing a lot of stuff outside of it to learn. And this is definitely not necessarily towards boot camps, but also towards any learning. Yeah. I can tell my baby brother, he's in college now, like a lot of stuff you're going to have to learn going to be outside of school. Yeah. I told him that. So, I don't know. I think it's always fun when the topic comes up or whatever. But a lot of us who've been in the game 10, 15, some 20 years, when we would try to say or try to guide people somewhere years ago, we are gatekeepers and we hating. And I was trying to say, no, what's real gatekeeping is the fact that up until like 4 or 5 years ago, it was super hard to get in the industry. Yeah. There was no information on it. And you probably weren't going to get a job doing it. That was the real gatekeeping that people don't even know about. Like that lasted for a long time. Why it took for a lot of people to get into the game. But now a lot of us like, you know what? We finna just gatekeep and maybe tell the people we close to. Yeah. Because y'all don't respect the information. All y'all do is hate. Anytime somebody got something good to say, y'all hate. Like, it's ridiculous. So that's what I mean. It is definitely a toxic place online. Yeah. I mean, it don't really bother me. I like all the engagement, whether it's from Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I be going in on the YouTube comments. Yeah. Like, somebody say something funny to me, I say something funny back. Yeah. I'm like, You not finna. I was born for this. You ain't finna out troll me.
Yeah.
On my own YouTube page. So you don't know. Like we talk about boot camps a lot. I still think boot camps have their place. You have a lot of boot camps that are partnering with universities,
Yeah.
which can be a sticky situation because if you got somebody lean on you that look official, then it's gonna like the boot camp is official. But I always would say, review the course materials and see what you get out of it. What I think is gonna be the trend moving forward is more specialized learning. So that's what some boot camps are good at, as far as there's a specific skill set. Hey, I'm going to show you how to be a cloud engineer.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you how to be a cybersecurity engineer dealing with these things, or I'm going to show you how to be a cloud security engineer. I think those things will be more specialized. Like right now, I don't have a boot camp, but I am doing a trial and error thing on this, like this internship thing I'm doing with a client. Like it's not paid, but based on what they want to do, I know what type of task to have them do, and then we will say, "This is what you did here," so it looks good on that resume, and then they'll be able to speak to it. So those are some of the stuff I'm trying to do to help people out, because when it does come to having experience, it's kind of tough. And I'm not gonna lie, and as a person with a lot of integrity when it comes to doing your resumes, they'll say something to me. I was like, I wouldn't say you do it, but I ain't gonna tell you not to do it. Yeah. Because people will say, well, I'm a lie. Say that. I'm like, if you can pass the interview doing it, by all means. Because I had another guy, he had a friend that's in identity access management, and now he's actually became a client. But when we was talking, he's like, yeah, my friend told me I should put this all on my resume and say this and change these jobs to IM jobs. And like 90 days, I should get a job. I was like, okay, cool. I asked him when their friend got in, how about 2020? I said, okay. It was easier for him to get in at that time. I say, okay, hey, explain what I say. I told him to explain. I think I said explain role-based access to me. And he couldn't explain it, which I think he knew it, but it comes to a point where you learn all these different things. It's hard to kind of talk about it. Yeah. And I was like, this is the part that people mess up at because they learn so much, but they just learned it and learned it. They don't know how to explain it. Yeah. They get stuck on it. I was like, well, explain multi-factor authentication to me. Yeah. That overcomplicates something like that. So it shouldn't. I always say it shouldn't be this hard to get in. Yeah. You got this people saying, hey, it's 500,000 jobs open. These people are saying it's not. I don't think it's 500,000 jobs. I don't think so. They are always talking about, well, these things could be entry level. I'm like, well, if that's the case, hire the people that want to do the stuff. Hire them. And that's the other gatekeeping. They don't want to. Right. Because then you have to do away with a lot of certifications. CompTIAs. Like, I know they get a lot of hate, but all these people, what I do like is there's a crop of new companies. They're developing better certifications that aren't geared around ABCD. They're geared around actual practical knowledge and passing practical tests, and they give you like hours, 24 hours to pass it. Those are the better options for people with no experience now, because now you can say, hey, look, I passed this certification, and this certification was practical. This is what it covered, and this is what I had to do. So now hiring manager will say, okay, they passed this. Let me like research this to see what more about it. Yeah. And you got the equalizer. You can make blog posts, which I recommend for everybody to do because, like you said, knowing those terms and talking about them, look them up, type them up. If something that comes from your own mouth would be easier for you to talk about. Right. So
I think like with the entry level thing, what I'm hoping happens, and if I ever get in management, is what I hope that I can do one day is like taking a chance on the people that don't have experience but might have the transferable skills, like you know, like my manager did for me. Like, you know, sometimes you need those people that don't have the cookie cutter security background, or didn't have the computer science degree, or don't have the cybersecurity master's degree. Like, you know, you take a chance on people sometimes, and I understand that some hiring managers are not in a place to do that. Like the teams that they're over do need people with you know, certain type of experience and background. But I'm hoping that one day the industry will pivot towards really being more open to that entry level and allowing people to like some kind of more of those like generalist roles, like allowing them to just, you know, come with whatever background that they have and shaping them into something versus wanting them to have something already.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what some companies are doing. It's pretty smart, but it's actually I see it both ways. Some companies are doing that in the form of just hiring more interns. So
Mm-hmm.
then internships be longer.
Yeah.
So it kind of experience, and they'll have to pay the intern as much as they have to pay like a new full time employee. And Navy needs more benefits and got a family and stuff like that. So I've seen the trend of that. So people could look out for that. So that is one of the reasons why you want to get into school. But like I say, if you're going to go to school, get into a school that's going to benefit you. If you already got a job, like if she said she needed a master's and she wanted to go to school, by all means, I would say go to WGU because she's already in the field.
Yep.
But if you're not in the field and you want to get a place that has like a better, stronger alumni base, companies coming there for their career day, they have good percentages and putting people in internships for helping them, that's what you need to be looking into. And they get mad at me when I say this, but it's not because I'm saying nothing bad about WGU.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you what I know about when it comes to college.
Yeah.
It's simple. Like, do they even have a campus? They probably do, but
They might. I'm not sure.
But we know people primarily go online.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it's a benefit. But anything you can finish that fast and they make you all them certifications, I don't care for curriculums like that. That's just me, though.
Yeah.
Because just make you learn stuff to pass it. You don't get a chance to really absorb it.
Right.
So that's that. And then I had this other one to ask you. Are you giving out referrals?
Sure. For people that are really want to work, really looking for a job, really, I don't put my name on the line for everybody and anybody, but if you are really looking to make a connection and I can help you, I'm happy to do so.
Because that could be a real come up. Like,
oh yeah,
you get about 10 referrals.
I did one for a colleague that I used to work with at a previous company. She came over and I got her referral, and the bonus is actually more than I thought it was, and that was nice. I was like, I could get used to this.
Some people real do be like make it come up out there. I'm just apprehensive because I'm like, is she gonna actually work? You gonna make me look bad?
Right.
Like, all my referrals are actually people that I wouldn't mind working with for myself. So
yeah, it would definitely wouldn't be somebody just like, hey, and then I would just refer them, but we had a couple conversations and I learned more about them. I'd be comfortable.
You lucky I don't know how to go. I forgot how to go through like people tweets and search like their tweets that got like more than like 100 likes or something like that. That way I can really start seeing like all the hot topics and seeing like what you've been talking about. What is something that I didn't, I guess, cover from Twitter that maybe you thought I would have brought up?
Like with cyber or just in general?
It could be cyber or it could be in general.
I'm trying to think. Twitter just so all over the place.
Because you can't even think.
No, I can't.
Yeah, I know it be funny stuff. I think the last 4 years has making people have a disdain for like tech Twitter.
Oh yeah.
They seeing them as like glowed, and then people was waiting on their downfall. But I mean, that was new people that was happy to be in. Most of the people who've been in was like.
It's funny because I feel like I used to be, well, I still kind of am like this, but like the people that make it a personality trait, I'm just like, come on, like, so if you lost your tech job today, that's the only thing that's interesting about you. There's nothing else that's interesting about you. Like, people lead with that. I've never liked people to lead with that. Like, sometimes, like, I'll meet people and
especially where you are, they big on status.
Who?
The area that you stay in now.
Oh yeah,
that's what they all on. Oh, what do you do? What do you do? I work for the government.
It's also why and this might sound weird, but like why I don't lead with like that I'm okay. Like I don't know. Sometimes people treat you weird or like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but I want people to like know me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I like nothing else makes me me. Like I just want people to be like, I like Kayla because I like Kayla, and then whatever else I'm affiliated with, then like that's just a bonus. But some of the people that when prior to me working in cyber, like I would see tweets about Black Twitter and I read Black Tech Twitter, and I'm just like, y'all are like, because y'all just leave with that, and it just I just don't like it.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of people's using it to get bread because people
Yeah.
want to seek them out and get advice
Right.
and stuff. I mean, it's for branding purposes you can do that, but like most of the time, some people are doing it as if like somebody's like, oh, I'm a lawyer, I'm a surgeon, I'm a doctor,
Yeah.
I'm a nurse, yada yada yada. But it's essentially what I gotta chill. It's essentially what the men do or women do, but the men, if they making a lot of money, they leading with their money.
Yeah.
There was something we was talking about on Threads yesterday when the chick was like, "Yeah, these guys offer to buy me these things." Yeah, but she's like, if I asked them to do that from the jump, they would say I was a gold digger. And I was like, well, since 2020, that's like been the thing. It was just like money making you and stuff like that. But it's really not. It's really more about your character. That's why like a lot of people, I'm gonna just say guys. I'm not gonna really focus on the women because they have a different dynamic because they're trying to be guys when they have money, and it definitely doesn't work out for them like that. Those guys with the money, like they making take the girl on a date or whatever or something, but they can't keep them because they don't really have a lot of substance.
Yeah.
They don't have a good character. And so when you start focusing on your character being good, and this also just goes into as well as like when you come to like work it. Like I said, a lot of people are just trying to get into the game, but I'm always like, all right, I have a LinkedIn learning course about like kind of okay, cool. You got into cybersecurity now. What you gonna do? How you gonna stay here? How you gonna make a career out of it? Gotta be likable. That's how you get promoted. I hate to tell everybody, it ain't the person that's the best at their job. The person that's likable and most well known, they're gonna be the person that gets promoted over you.
Yep.
Or I'm gonna use that likable, the person that wants to kiss up more. That too.
Yeah. I think a lot of people want to get into cyber too just because it's trendy. Like they think it's trendy. Like it sounds cool to be like, oh yeah, I work in cybersecurity. And I'm not saying that it doesn't, but like it should be what you really want. Like if it's not what you really want, don't just try to go with the trend. Like or don't just try to go because you think that's where the bread at. Like there's bread in a lot of places. Like I was making 6 figures in insurance. Like you know what I'm saying. Like there's plenty of people that was making a whole lot more money than me still in insurance. Like,
hey, funny thing is, Liberty's still hiring security people.
Yeah, they are. They are. 'Cause I was looking at some of their posts. Lincoln is too, actually. Yeah.
So like that's the thing too, and then that's the other thing. Like everybody's so focused on like, I think this is the other conundrum, tech. But you can have a technical job in a different industry. So we've been talking about healthcare. We've been talking about insurance, finance. I think your company kind of is finance, healthcare ish.
So they say that they're a benefits technology company. So what we do,
I'm gonna say benefits, finance, healthcare. That's what I'm calling it.
Yeah. So what we do is we supply the platforms that where a lot of people that where they do their open enrollment and stuff. We build those platforms for employer.
Yeah, I know. I got my card from your company.
Oh yeah.
And I'm trying to see. Like, I guess the money. I didn't know I got a different account, so some money rolled over on that. I was like, okay, I'm gonna call them just to verify exactly how it works. Because some of that stuff I got, I don't know how it works, and when it rolled over, it was like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Now, before we go, I know you've been talking about this new venture. You got something approved the other day, company and stuff like that.
Yes.
You care to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. So I, again, on a whim, decided that I wanted to start a consulting business to help people transfer or transition into cybersecurity. So I felt like I was in the best position to do that because I just did it. And so this is my way of kind of putting my hand back in the position that I'm in now to try to help people and bring them over to cybersecurity should they really want it. You know, I pride myself on telling people that, look, this is going to take work. We're going to work together to create actionable steps that you are going to have to take to transition, but we're definitely going to get you there. So actually services go live November 11th. So in less than a week. And if you follow me on Twitter, my link is in my bio to book a consultation. So.
Okay, I need to reply to this email. Um, you're gonna learn a whole bunch of stuff about people.
I know. I know. I got imposter syndrome about that too because actually I've never wanted to be or pursue entrepreneurship. Never. I've always was like, I'll just climb the corporate ladder. Like, I'll be in management one day. I don't want to get too high though, because I don't ever want to be a part of a layoff. You know, they cut management first. So I'm like, I don't want to get too high. I always want to be needed, be somewhere in the middle. But I've, something about it. I was just like, when I moved into cyber, I told my manager, I said, one day I just want to be able to help people the way that you help me. And I think right now, the best way that I can do that is by sharing the way that I got in. And I think that, um, you know, whether that's one person, whether that's 100 people, whether that's 1,000 people, it don't matter to me. I just want to help people get over to the dark side. So
Yeah, that was me. So that like initially I got my master's because I said I wanted to be a manager and get
yeah,
us in and hire us. But then I realized that wasn't gonna necessarily mean I was gonna do it.
yeah,
So this way has afforded me the luxury to get so many of us
yeah,
in or give them a start, and that's been good enough for me.
yeah,
You're gonna run into a lot of funny stuff. People trying to waste your time. That's why I was like, I
yeah,
don't care what you charge them something.
yeah,
Because paying for these scheduling apps or these other things that we use on the back end
right,
to provide service for you aren't free. So
right,
somebody got to pay for it.
right.
You're going to run into guys acting like they want to get into cyber, but they really going to be trying to
Yeah,
holler.
yeah,
Like, it shall be pretty interesting. I'll just tell you that.
yeah. I'm hip, so I'm like, well, you want to waste your time, you're gonna have to pay for it. And the prices are reasonable. I feel like they're reasonable, but
They'll keep on wasting their time. Hey, listen, you got some guys. If they got they got their heart set on you, they can be like, okay, man, I'm gonna wait it out. But they're gonna mess up eventually.
Good luck.
I'm telling you, listen, I'm telling you.
If they want to
Man,
waste their money, that's cool.
look at that. I always ask this question because I think it's pretty cool. And people either immediately have an answer or they have to think about it. What's one thing I didn't ask you that you thought I would have asked you?
Um, gosh. Hmm. Dang, pay me a second. Um,
That's what I said. I think it normally does.
um, mhm. Oh my goodness. Sure.
Like I said, if you can't think of something, then maybe I ask you everything that you want to be asked.
Yeah, I feel like we covered a lot, but I'll probably think of something later. It's gonna come to me and I'm be like, oh, I thought you might ask me this, but I can't think of anything right now.
Okay. So is right now your company going to run strictly like just from like a Calendly link or
Yeah,
okay,
Calendly. Yeah.
cool. And I guess eventually we'll have a name for that, and that's why we're gonna have to go ahead and get you back on IG. See,
Uh, I I know. One of my friends was like, "You gonna have to get back on IG, Kayla, and promote it there." I was just like, I
and
just
you have
don't
to get on
want to.
TikTok. And
I'm cool with TikTok, but they talking about TikTok about to be gone in January.
they say that, but I feel like it's such a moneymaker. Something gonna happen. It was supposed to be gone this year.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So
They might make something shake. Maybe Kamala will make something shake.
if the people don't want to budge, they ain't gonna budge. So they are what the Stormy Daniels say? You a tree, you can move. You on a tree, you can move.
I don't know what she said.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But I'll have her LinkedIn and her Twitter in the description. That way, if you guys want to follow up with her, you can.
Yes.
But any last words for the audience?
If you follow me on Twitter, know that I have two sides to me. I am fun, but I am about my business. So, come with a good uh, scratch that.
Yeah, I got you.
Hold on. Let me think of what I was gonna say. Um,
I can say come correct or something like that.
yeah, just what did I say in the beginning?
You said those you follow me on my Twitter. It's
Oh,
two
yeah.
sides to me. I'm fun
Okay,
about my
okay.
business.
Let me get back together. Okay. So those who follow me on Twitter, I got two sides to me. I'm fun and I'm about my business. So everybody just come correct and we're gonna have a good time.
Now, y'all heard it from the horse's mouth. But it's been another episode of TechTual Talk. And like I always say, until next time, let's stay textual and we out. Peace.
It's